Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
At first, we hit your gadgets with our state-of-the-art digitalized mobile studio with the debate on the road behind the wheels. Later, we launched our magnificent studios located on Plot 1A, Sewagude Close, Lukulinanganda, Machinde, Kampala, where we bring to you our must-watch shows like The Mighty Drive, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m., Hotline, Mondays, 7 p.m. As for legal matters, Twins at Bar, Tuesdays, 11 a.m. Wednesdays, 6 p.m. is Afro-Caribbean Link, where we connect Africa with the Caribbean. Voltage on Thursdays, 7 p.m., featuring a youthful panel. Interface with Dr. Kizza Besigye every Friday, 12 p.m. with his call to action against injustices. Snap Talk, Saturdays, 6 p.m. with the trio. A must-watch, The Political Dice, Sundays, 8 p.m. with the duo that never stammers, and so much more. Watch us live on all our social media platforms. We are the Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Good evening, Uganda. Welcome to Face the Nation. My name is Edgar Matthew Karuhanga, and you are watching Digitalk TV. This particular month, January 2025, the Uganda People's Defense Forces, UPDF, is going to be celebrating 44 years in serving this great country of Uganda. But amidst this time, this particular entity has been at the center of some controversies that are happening in the country, starting from last year, but even up to today, this particular year. In that particular realm or perspective, I have the spokesperson of the Ministry for Defense and the Uganda People's Defense Forces, Brigadier General Felix Kulayigye, to just paint a picture for us what is happening in his office, in his army, and of course generally the country's security as we speak today. You're most welcome, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Karuhanga.
I'm happy to have you, and I really honor you, sir, and it's a privilege to have you on Face the Nation.
Is it the first time on this hill?
Yes, sir.
You're most welcome.
Okay, sir. Let's start off with the state of security in the country. If you are to look at it this year, 2025, how is the security of Ugandans and their property?
Evaluating the entire, excuse me, the year 2024,
yes, sir.
Uganda has been secure, peaceful, and stable. There were disruptions at the beginning of the year, particularly in western Uganda, but those were quickly dealt with, and the situation returned to normal. So the country is peaceful, the security is satisfactory. We have had a very active year for us, particularly in the DRC, Operation Shuja. We have had the descending year in Karamoja as disarmament is being conquered, if I may borrow that word. There have been disruptions at the border with South Sudan, in the districts of Lamu, in the West Nile, but we have also dealt with that. We still have the issue of border demarcation with South Sudan. It's being handled at higher level. Heads of states have met. Demarcation committees have been set up, so that's not a threat anymore. So generally the country has been secure. And we have just concluded a whole month of being on alert for the security of the country during the festive season. And I'm sure you're aware, we registered a very peaceful festive season, albeit people dying of motor accidents, which as an army we have no control over. Yeah, so security is very satisfactory.
Okay, we've heard of a story that broke this week that the ADF has got new equipment that is going to facilitate them in their conquest or their operations, and some drones, up-to-date drones. And this is a report that has been got from the United Nations. How safe are you from the people who have been disturbing you for a while now?
You see, there are times some of the reports make me laugh. What is the military? It's essentially a fighting force. And you are fighting who? You're not fighting night dancers. You fight armed people. And so, whether they have gotten new arms or not, it does not change our view excuse me, and our approach to the operation. Of course, it's important for us to know or to learn the new equipment acquired by the enemy, and then you deploy your resources accordingly. Therefore, I want to assure Ugandans, that's not a matter to worry you.
They have not been having sophisticated weaponry, but they've been making operations, and many Ugandans have lost their lives. Are you downplaying their strength?
I'm actually downplaying their strength. Many Ugandans that have lost their lives have lost not in battle, not because a village was attacked by armed men, but a few individuals that infiltrated like the school in 2023 and burnt those students. Or those who infiltrated the village in Kamwenge and killed civilians. They were about 4. Now, that's not a matter that should be worrying. It's a matter, however, that requires extra vigilance. Reason. You want to ensure that you don't have a repeat of the past. Number one. Number two, if you may have noticed, whenever there are such changed approaches by the enemy, we also change our deployment style. You remember we introduced now LDUs in the Chibale Kasese area, so that the LDUs can guard the villages as the APDF is pursuing ADF inside Congo. We are aware there were attempts by the ADF to make us move or reduce the pressure inside DRC by coming behind us. They had hoped we didn't have deployments behind our lines, but they were surprised. So I'm not downplaying per se, but I'm showing you that the acquisition of whatever equipment they have acquired does not change the status quo. Whether they have acquired new equipment or whether they are financed by whoever, as they are getting more finances from international terrorist groups, our resolve to end them remains undeterred.
Okay. There is also a sentiment that they are collaborating with the March 23 rebels, M23. And according to some reports, they're even getting support like cocoa revenues from Buni, and 70% of these proceeds are given to the ADF. So does the alliance between ADF and M23, if it's actually there, worry the UPDF and Uganda?
We have no proof about that collaboration between M23 and the ADF. What we knew is that ADF was actually collaborating with some militia groups inside the Congo called the Mai Mai, those who have no ideology, if I may put it that way. And 2, ADF is operating in Ituri, M23 is in North Kivu province. And we are actually like the buffer between the two. And so that collaboration for us, we are not aware of it. And I would like to appeal to you Ugandans. These so-called UN reports, read them with a pinch of salt.
Why?
Because the UN must create reason to stay in Congo. I'm saying it open on air. Yes, they have been in Congo since 1960.
There is interest there for them?
Of course there is. Just remember, the only country where a UN Secretary General died is Congo. 1960.
Yes.
Why is Congo still unstable after 64 years of UN in Congo, if they are of any help to them?
Okay.
I think when you do business, it's important you evaluate the profitability of how you are doing your business.
But we can only listen to UN because the UPDF has been blurry about some of the details that are happening in Congo.
Where have you been? We have a mandate to talk about ourselves. We can't talk about others. We have told you what we have been doing.
Okay.
And those who are interested, we have even brought you documentaries of our operations inside the DRC. Okay. Because for us, we believe in you being a part and parcel of what we are doing, because we are your army.
Okay.
All right? Now, The truth of the matter is that, yes, we rely on Congo because they appear to be the only credible source. But we who have monitored what they are doing, who have seen. You have heard the president calling them military tourists. Why? The most expensive UN mission since its creation has been the operation in Congo. Why do we still have wars there? I think it's the existence of conflict inside Congo is an indictment of UN deployment. And compare that with the progress of the African Union mission in Somalia, which eventually became ATMIS.
Yes.
The progress made in DRC and the progress made in Somalia. That will give you a picture of who is doing what.
All right, you're still watching Face the Nation. My name is Edgar Matthew Karuhanga. I am with the spokesperson of the Uganda People's Defense Forces, but also the Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs, Brigadier General Felix Kulayigye. General, let me come to the next issue of the mental health of your soldiers, or our soldiers as Ugandans. In the recent past, we've had stories of soldiers shooting each other because of sometimes personal conflicts. Then recently also there is a soldier who took out his own life. And these are just a few of the stories that come to light. There are many that we don't even hear about. Is everything okay in the minds of these fighters?
First of all, it's not correct that there are many you don't hear about. The fortunate thing that no suicide case goes unnoticed. It will come to the open. Okay. And two, we need to be careful. It's not a UPDF matter alone. It's a society problem. Just last night, or yesterday, a young man killed his father here in Wachiso because the father had chased him out of the house to go and start his own life. Do you want to consider that as a mental issue, or you want to call it a mindset that believes in finding greater things? But two, challenges to the minds of soldiers are also happening in the wider society. The stress factors are issues we cannot ignore. Ours become unique or peculiar because one, our uniform. Two, we are a closed society. We are able to tell. Three, we attract attention over the media because we are not ordinary people, if I may use the word.
Yes.
And so it's a wider societal problem. You young people have not been built with the psyche to deal with the challenges of life. Because what you are facing today is not new. What is new about you is now the smartphone you are carrying. The things you read there, the things you see and admire, you think they have just been created, but they worked for them, those who are enjoying them. Now here you want to have them without being stressed. That's number one. Two, what people are you giving us in the military? They are products of the same society, where that boy who killed his father is born. That's where I come from, that's where they come from. How have you been brought up? In our days, we were prepared for life ahead of us. And the society took it upon itself to actually show you how tough.
Are you saying we're a generation of weak people?
Yes, you are. Okay. Emotionally, you are weak people.
Okay, let's now go to the specifics.
In fact, to use the words of one of you in one of the media houses, he called you the what is this equipment you use to warm food?
Microwave?
Yes, microwave generation. I didn't even know that term. He called you the microwave generation.
Yes.
You want quick things all the time. And so when they take longer, your mindset, your mental psyche cannot withstand that waiting.
Okay, let's first.
So let's come to the military.
And as you're painting a picture, there is a specific case of the lieutenant that took his own life. And he left a couple of reasons saying why he was doing the action that he actually did. Did you even look into those?
There is already the committee investigating those allegations. And that hinders me from discussing the particular case. But I want to take that case in generality with other cases we have handled before. For example, at the time I joined, and for 20-something years, we never had issues of mindset. or rather mental health. You think we are not having challenges? In fact, we are having wars internally and externally.
Yes. Yeah.
We fought 29 rebellions in 20 years. Why were we not having those cases of people killing each other? One, the mindset of the children that joined the army. They found a tradition, an ideology of things are not acquired on a silver platter. You have to work. Now you have been driven to school in a private car, collected from school in a private car. You go with a suitcase full of grub. You sit on TV. You don't even do wash up. You have a maid who washes for you. As you are watching TV, you raise your feet. The maid even cleans where you are seated. Then you come to the army where things are done by yourself. On top of that, you go to front line. In addition to doing things for yourself, you are facing the danger of death, which in your world home, these were unexpected. They definitely have a toll on the mindset, on the mind. And so we had to create a department of mental health. It's a directorate headed by a doctor, a general by rank like me, General Chen. Because we found ourselves that Somalia has brought in a new phenomenon. People are operating in a harsh environment, in a harsh climate, and then the generational issues we had now to create, to deal with now this new dynamic.
How has that work been in restoring the mental health of
It
these
has
people?
done wonders. But you see, it takes the following. One, it takes people being able to see that there is a change in character or in behavior by an individual, of an individual rather. Two, the leaders noticing. But three, you yourself owning up and say, you people have a problem. And then people can advise you on how to deal with the problem. And personally, I'm very angry against that lieutenant. Because by an officer, by virtue of being an officer, you are responsible to yourself and to the people you are leading. For starters.
Yeah.
Now, when you get a family, that becomes the number 3 responsibility. So for you to think of even taking your own life is being selfish. And the truth does not solve a problem. Instead, it creates more. Those children remained orphaned that he was talking about in his note.
Yes.
So, have you solved your problem? Actually, suicide is a cowardice. You are running away from problems. But you have created a permanent one. You have gone to hell automatically. For us who believe that hell exists.
Yes, sir.
Now, number 4, the officer had many opportunities to deal with the challenges. Did he exhaust them? Those are the things we are examining in the investigation. Because these avenues exist at unit level, at sub-unit level. The avenues I'm talking about is leaders managing the problem. If the leaders can't manage, then they send beyond, they go above themselves. Finally, if it is a medical issue, you are referred to the medical specialists. We have even introduced social psycho counselors, trained purposely for that. They exist in every service. Why? Somebody may not have reached a medical level, but he has a problem. So you go for counseling.
Yes.
We have provided for this. But like I'm saying, as you are looking at UPDF, look at the wider reports you are getting every other day.
In the general population.
In the general public.
It's also worrying.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying, and I have argued. If you read my article in New Vision of today, it's the same thing I'm talking about, the family.
Okay. So thank you so much. Let's move on to the issue of Dr. Kizza Besigye, who's being tried in the General Court Marshal. I don't want us to look at the nitty-gritties there because it will be a matter of sub judice, but we can actually look at the manner to which everything took place. Let's start off. Why do you have a culture of kidnapping people from other countries, whisking them without any legal notice whatsoever, and then in the morning they appear in the General Court Marshal?
Mr. Karuhanga, we don't kidnap.
What did you do to Besigye?
You see,
in Kenya?
you know, you're amusing me with the terms you
And
love
it was
using.
deliberate to use the word kidnap
I
or
know,
abduct.
I know. And I'm saying you're amusing me with the language you journalists use, some of you journalists use. The state does not kidnap. The state arrests. The difference is in the methodology of doing so. Number one. Number two, the arrest of Dr. Kizza Besigye took place in another country.
Yes.
You cannot pick a person from another country without the security apparatus of that country being involved. You cannot.
Okay, there are two means that we know of getting someone from another country: extradition and deportation. What did you do of the two?
None of those. We have a legal framework in the region of dealing with security threats, and we utilize that framework. Now, do we have to go public about the framework? No, because it's a security framework. And for me, in my humble view, you should actually thank us, because for us, we averted the crisis.
How?
Because we stopped somebody from doing an outrageous things he was planning to do. I will not go into the details of what he's being accused of. But suffice to say, we did our role.
Would it have hurt if you wrote to the Kenyan government, have Dr. Kizza Besigye extradited and brought to Uganda and charged for all those cases? Would it have hurt?
Do you think we don't know that process exists? You think we don't know? We know it does. Why did you opt for this one? Which is more painstaking in planning, it takes more resources. Thirdly, it's also challenging in execution.
Then why did you choose the most challenging?
Yes, because that was the option best in the circumstances. You know, when are you yet married?
About to.
You're about to. There are cases that arise when your wife conceives, when she's due for delivery. She may be able to deliver naturally, or she may require surgery. Now, C-section or the mode of delivery is not determined by your expectant wife or you, the father. It's the doctor. Now, the decision to do cesarean section or normal depends not on any of the two of you, but the doctor. True or false?
True.
We are the doctor in this case. How we execute your protection as citizens depends on the circumstances we are faced.
My human rights don't matter, or rights whatsoever in that case?
For us, the rights of the majority are more important than the individual. Prisons are not created for show. They are not hotels. They deny rights of certain individuals that are suspects or convicts.
Okay. Let's leave the mode of how you abducted him and brought him here.
I object to the use of that word.
How you arrested him.
Yes.
Okay. Let's look. He's a civilian. Why take him to a general court martial?
RO
0099?
Is that a civilian?
Retired.
Thank you very much. Why do we put the word retired? To differentiate that yes, you are not in service, but you're not a civilian. That said,
You've said he's not in service, but he's also not a civilian.
of course, that's why you have RO still applied on him. Are you RO?
You are adding it on him.
Are we?
He retired.
It is his service
what
number.
What does the law say?
You go to your grave with your service number.
What does the law say?
Today, let me tell you, actually tomorrow, we are going to bury a retired Colonel Kizige. We have just picked the pallbearers. They are officers in service. He's retired. May God forbid if today Dr. Kizza Besigye died, we would have colonels to go and bury him. So there are things you people go into, and yet you don't understand the nitty-gritty. The late Mustafa Adrisi, the former vice president of Idi Amin, when did he leave the service? Actually, Amin had even dismissed him from the army. When he died, generals went to bury him.
Yes, I remember.
Okay. Why is your memory selective?
The General Court Martial has also been looked at as a tool for oppression of Ugandans. And why I'm bringing it, you've looked at Besigye, but many civilians have been tried in that court. You remember the members of NUP that were charged there for 4 years and let out like that. The case of the FDC cadres that were also arrested, what you call arrested, from Kenya, also taken to that General Court Martial. Why is it that then these young politicians are being taken there?
Can I ask, those NUP supporters you're talking about, the highest in NUP, in terms of status or hierarchy? Are they?
Not really.
Why isn't
They are the foot soldiers.
Why isn't Senyonyi in the court martial?
Because you know Senyonyi will bring a lot of noise.
Who says? Whom haven't you touched? That is worth being taken there.
But these ones are
Ugandans, please, you first of all rest.
Yes, sir.
We don't fear noise.
That I can also.
We respect people who respect themselves. If you are involved in a crime that will endanger the security of Ugandans, i.e. involving arms that are a monopoly of the defense force, you qualify yourself for the court martial.
One would ask then, why is Kanyamunyo, why wasn't he taken to the General Court? Why was he tried in the civil court?
Kanyamunyo committed the crime against an individual. And so he was a subject for the police to do the process.
But you say if it has anything to do with the guns and...
I said against Ugandans, the security of Ugandans. An individual crime can't be a subject of the court martial unless you, the serving officer, has been involved. Or you, a civilian, has helped me to commit that crime. You will be subject to the court martial. You see, the answer is simple. Why are we debating these things for long? The answer is simple. Avoid involving yourself in matters to do with the military, and you won't come to our court. But you decide to make yourselves. Now, for instance, you are told this kind of paraphernalia is gazetted for the military, and you insist on putting it on. What do we call you? You either have a mental problem or you are simply a criminal.
But then that means the hook is subjective in nature. It's getting the silverfish, but it's not getting the tilapia. Because one Patrick Mulwana is wearing military fatigue every day. A senior presidential advisor, Edirisa Musuza, also known as Eddie Kenzo, recently at the Nkuka Festival, was putting on military fatigue.
That matter has been
and the baby cools of this world.
Listen.
You don't touch them. Why do you touch the other ones?
Listen.
Yes, sir. Let me listen.
You see, don't mix emotions here with the issues we have to discuss objectively. Because emotions will subject your objectivity, or rather will mar your objectivity. Edirisa, okay, Dickens as you call it, or
alien skin.
Alien skin. I don't know. There are about 5, I think, that were mentioned recently. And the matter has been taken up for investigation. Why these have been late to put on this uniform. It's a matter we're investigating because we declared anybody in military attire. But you see, the NUP supporters you're talking about was not about the attire. It were the activities they had been involved in. Because if it was attire, even Bobby Wine would have been taken in. And I don't know why people chose deliberately to call them NUP supporters. They were not in Makindi because they were NUP supporters. No. Or you talk about the small fish. I believe Dr. Kizza Besigye is not a small fish, is he?
No, he's a
so we have a tilapia already there. If you are looking for tilapia.
Thank you. General, now, as we enter the political year, 2020.
So I wanted to clear this one. A tool for oppression. First of all, this is your army. We are not forcing it on you. By character, we believe and we behave as a people's army. That's why you are here, surrounded by these soldiers, and you're asking me these questions with freedom. Because it is your right to know. It is your right to seek answers from us. And it's our obligation to give them. Number one. Number two, the way you entered down at the quarter guard, I'm sure you are not molested. That's what the People's Army does. It respects civilians. Now, however, there are some of us who take these freedoms beyond and infringe on other people's freedoms. You know, my rights will be free as long as they don't infringe on yours.
Yes.
Now, who is there to arbitrate between you and I to ensure that none of us infringes on the other?
Should be you.
It's the state.
Okay.
Now, how the state executes this mission depends on the circumstances, depends on the cases you have committed, or the crimes you have suspected to have committed. Okay. Excuse me. So, and of course, you are right to question, because it's our responsibility to explain ourselves. Now, where we say, in explanation, I may endanger future operations, I will not tell you. I also have that limitation.
Okay.
Like an analogy I used before, you and I, assuming are boxers, if we enter the boxing ring and you have tied my arm behind, the match is not fair, is it?
It's not.
Now, I have that scenario. There are certain things I cannot tell you for purposes of ensuring that tomorrow you remain safe.
Okay.
You know, until the lamb lies in the lion's den peacefully, you have these issues, the court martial around, you have us around.
General, but also there are injustices that have been recorded in this time. The most recent, I can say, the November 18th and 19th killings that took over 54 Ugandans' lives. How do we deal with those injustices? Because none has been booked for what happened there.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
There's nobody that has been shown to us to say that this was the person
That's not
responsible.
correct. Some people were charged.
Who is responsible?
Wait a minute. Some people were charged. I wasn't in this office. I can't remember. But I remember two things.
Yes, sir.
One, the CDF of the time came out and apologized. True or false?
It's true.
The head of state himself owned up and apologized the country. Now, the Christianity I know is that when somebody confesses his sins, he is forgiven. But you Ugandans have kept on bringing back this. It means you didn't forgive us. So the apology was wasted. And yet, every Sunday, I see people saying, oh, glory to God, we are praising God. Why haven't you forgiven us yet?
But then
we owned up.
The parents, the sisters, the brothers want to see someone charged and say, this is the person who's responsible and he has been done to this.
That's being vindictive. And I've told you, for us, we do.
No, you can forgive but charge.
We charge ourselves. All right?
Yes, sir.
We actually punish harshly. Do you remember this case in Kitgum?
Yeah.
How many years was this sentenced to?
Many. A couple of years.
Actually, for us, we are you people in ties are the ones abetting this. We still have a death penalty on our statute, the Updf Act. We last killed in 99.
Yes.
The last, by then we had executed 123 of our own. No army in the world has that record. That shows you how serious we are on matters of our civil military relations.
Okay.
You kill a civilian, you qualify for death. Then you people shouted, you are violating soldiers' rights. For us, we argue, the rights of the person killed are as well important. So why do we leave this fellow alive who is likely to commit another crime? Help society and put him away. In our code of conduct, a murderer, a rapist, a child, a defiler have no right to live. But here you are giving a defiler 7 years in jail? Santa Maria.
You sound like Mr. Museveni as you speak, right?
No, but I may sound like him because he's the one who has mentored me, but...
He has indoctrinated you?
No.
Augmented.
He has mentored.
Okay.
Indoctrination is negative.
Oh.
The point I'm asking, I'm a father.
Yes, sir.
If my daughter is defiled and the defiler walks away, have I done my job as a father? Actually, let me tell you, and I'm warning those of viewing, the day you hear me in prison for murder, I will have killed a fighter.
Okay, sir.
Doesn't matter whether it's my child or not. As long as you're a fighter, you have no right to live.
Okay.
Because the impact on this child is forever.
That's very true.
So why should you live, you bastard who...
Okay, but,
Anyway, let me leave that one.
let's leave that. Let's go to now. The military always taking part in political activities, because even that case scenario that I brought you, it was military taking part in an electoral process, and we have seen videos of people in uniform. I won't call them soldiers, but people in uniform taking ballots during the electoral season. It's like a time for the UPDF to shine.
Mr. Karuhanga.
Yes.
I kindly request for those videos.
I'll share them with you,
please.
Sir. Yeah.
Of soldiers taking ballots.
Videos of people taking ballots in uniform.
Because I can tell you,
people in uniform taking ballots.
I needed to go to open a mini chankwanzi here for you and the viewers. We are a political entity. I hope you agree. Because Hans Clausewitz describes war as politics by other means. Now, if it is politics by other means, who are the executors of that other means?
Yeah.
So how do you fight a war we don't understand?
But you're taking sides.
Listen, allow me go on.
Please continue, sir.
Two, when it comes to an election process, you have an exercise so important to the country that elsewhere actually they even close their borders. It's not just mere politicking. It's because you want to protect this process, number one. Number two, but you also have a situation where some people are so primitive that they regard elections as a matter of life and death. And so, if they can't win, we'd rather all lose it. They behave like a co-wives. If I can't have him, then we'd rather all lose him. Some people behave that way. It's those scenarios that we deploy against. And that's why you find that we always guard the routes to the voting places. We don't go to the polling center. We only go when we are going to vote, to cast our votes. In that case, we are not even armed. Okay? Now, three, if anybody is involved in election malpractice, anyone, be it a citizen or police, is free to arrest him. It doesn't matter whether he's a general like me or not. And that's why I'm asking you. I need those videos.
That's the ideal, but on ground we know it's different.
But I'm telling you that for me, give me those videos, even if it is after how many years.
You want to say that you've never watched a video of men in uniform
Ticking? And they are left to talk free? No. No.
They had their uniform.
We had a general who was supporting a son in an election.
Yes.
He had issues with the police in this very country. You know, you people, like I said, your memory is selective.
Okay.
We have had cases, people who take sides, and they get it. Now, let me also help you. We do, for example, in my office here, I don't know who supports who. It's none of my business. I have never asked, I will never ask. Because the person I support is my private matter. However, we are not allowed to have political parties. In the US, they do. Soldiers have parties. They can be Democrats, they can be Republicans. Here, the Constitution bars us from having parties. It bars you journalists from having parties, but you do. When he was a journalist the other day, and he was practicing journalism, and yet he has a political side. That's already illegal. But people didn't talk about it because it belongs to the opposition.
Even the CDF has a political affiliation. You've heard him say, vote for NRM 2026.
The current CDF?
The current CDF,
there's something you forget. He has another title. Senior Presidential Advisor.
But General Felix, I feel like we pull this card of another position when it suits us. Because he's still the CDF. So how do I bar between the CDF speaking and the special advisor on operations?
Will you give a person suffering of malaria antiretroviral? Will you? I use the weapon where it is required. You are talking about him making a political statement.
Statements.
And as a senior presidential advisor, he is free to make that statement. Can me ask you, did you hear General Badi make such statements?
No.
Did you hear General David Muhoozi doing such statements?
So, no, but why is Muhoozi Kainerugaba?
That's what I'm saying. He's SPO. Today, Lieutenant General Peter Elwell will make such a statement because he is a senior presidential advisor. General Weiso will make such a statement, and our law will not touch her because of that title.
Then isn't that undermining the discipline of the Uganda People's
Not
Defense
at all.
Forces?
Not at all. By saying that statement, whom has he molested? Your ears?
There's junior officers looking at him and will take that as okay.
Don't speak for us because we do understand our superiors. We know how much they can go, the latitude they can go. We understand it.
All right. You're still watching Face the Nation. My name is Edgar Matthew Karuhanga. I'm privileged to be with the spokesperson of the Ministry for Defense and Veteran Affairs, but also he's the spokesperson for the Uganda People's Defense
But then
Forces.
before I forget,
Brigadier
my
General
title
Felix
changed.
Kulayigye.
The office is now called Directorate of Defense Public Information. As you saw the signpost coming.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's no longer spokesperson, it's Director, Defense Public Information.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. We are celebrating 44 years of the Uganda People's Defense Forces this year.
Yes, sir.
What are some of the celebrations or achievements that you look up to and say, 44 years, this is something that we are so proud of? 2025.
Thank you very much. First, for starters, let's start with the obvious. Peace and stability of the country. You know, there are some Ugandans who have got bored by the stability. Some even have expressed a desire to see war. I hope you have heard them.
I've had such sentiments. Very sad.
But by grace of God, the grace of God, we have succeeded in maintaining peace and stability. Two, and in the other B, until 2006, the country was at war with itself. Now, since 2006 to date, the country has been at peace with itself. From Kidepo to Muhabura, from Oraba to Busia. That's no mean achievement. In our history, it's the first time. We are happy about that. But number two, one thing we pride in is the collaboration and cooperation with the civilian population. It's a matter that is near and dear to our hearts as UPDF. That's why we are interacting now.
Yes.
That's why we have the Directorate of Human Rights. We have the Directorate of Civil Military Cooperation. All those are to strengthen the cooperation between the military and the civilians. It's a matter we are proud of. Three, we have grown in capacity that we are able to export peace. In the 70s and early 80s, Uganda was a net exporter of refugees. Many of the leaders you see today, and those who were there before, had been refugees in other countries.
Exactly.
Now today, we are importers of refugees instead.
Yeah.
People from our neighboring countries find Uganda much safer for them.
The biggest in Africa, I think.
Thank you very much. That's a matter UPDF is proud of. Now, not only have we built capacity to export peace, Somalia, South Sudan, we have also built capacity to respond to disaster management. The landslides in the Elgon region, the floods in the west, or the land, earthquakes, UPDF has been at the forefront. Two, outbreak of epidemics. Ebola, UPDF was at the forefront. Civilians in and out of hospitals, actually. That's why a man called Dr. Raskalukuya is a hero. Because for him, he stayed. Unfortunately, Ebola took him. What about COVID-19? Same thing. So we are able to fulfill our constitutional mandate.
I saw you're even at the center of the MPOX also trying to...
Absolutely, we are.
Yes.
So, not only do we have the will, but we have developed the capacity to deal with these emergencies.
Yes, sir.
5, we are now participating in the national economic development. construction. In the process of constructing the handling government projects, we have been able to save government billions of shillings. Just give you an example of Nambole. The private contractor had charged 340 billion. Yeah. We did it with 97 billion. Look at the amount of money we saved the country.
Yes.
Now, that's no mean achievement. 6, we have made Uganda, in fact, we are the biggest exporter of Uganda's image, in addition to the Kiprotichis and the Kiptegei. Okay?
Yes, sir.
For us, those are not mean. We value them, and that's why we are very sensitive to any of us violating these things,
okay,
this relationship.
This new year, what are some of the resolutions that you have, especially when you know that we are entering a political season? What's the plan of the Uganda People's Defense Forces for the year 2025? Uganda
must remain safe and secure. Must. That one is not debatable. So anyone who will do anything that will destabilize the country, yes, sir, we shall get him or her. 2, continuous development. You can see that quarter guard you have passed is a new one. It used to be there. Now we have, I think, a beautiful quarter guard.
Yeah, it's decent.
Thank you very much. And I love the word you have used. Defense. Now, you see those iron sheets? Yes, we are building a new headquarters. It will be twin towers. And our resolve is to have it complete in 3 years. We are doing it ourselves from the little money government is giving us. 3, we are going to continue with external missions. The mission in Somalia has changed to AWSOM. We are still part of it. In fact, we are going to play a bigger role. More areas have been added onto us to protect in the stabilization mission in Somalia. The operations in the Congo, they are going to continue until ADF is out. We have been, we depend on timelines. This time we have our leaders have put a mechanism where the mandate is renewed from time to time until ADF is dealt with. Terrorism remains a threat across the region. We are not going to sleep. Lastly, yes, sir, we need to see civic education. You know, Mr. Karhanga, this country is very amazing. It's only in Uganda that you have an election and some parties participate without manifestos. In my understanding of politics, a manifesto is the contract between the political leaders and the electorate. Exactly. Now, somebody contests for election without a manifesto and he expects to win. That's why I say China Uganda Chinyuma. That can only happen in Uganda, not anywhere else. Yes, sir. But I believe if our people are politically enlightened, they will reject some of these things. Or someone changes his mind because of 2,000 shillings. His or her vote becomes that cheap. So I want to crown that discussion with this question, that a voter is only free on the day you are casting your vote. After that, you are dependent on the person you have put in parliament. Exactly. For the next 5 years. So you cannot afford to kusura the way the bagana kwa gendo sura kalulu. No. You can't throw it. You can't throw it. Okay, sir. But if you don't care what this person is able to do. I was looking at a case where actually it's a video going viral of an MP in Rakai or Chotera who had never gone back in the last 4 years. Yeah. And now she had said she was inspecting boreholes. There are many. The way they are questioning her, I'm impressed. It means our people are waking up. Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure and privilege having you on the show, sir. The pleasure is mine, and we are always at your service. Of course. Thank you so much. My name is Edgar Matthew Karuhanga. I've been with the UPDF spokesperson, General Felix Kulayigye, and we've talked about a lot of things. From the entire team, we shall see you again next Friday on Face the Nation. Don't miss. At exactly 5 p.m., we are always here having a conversation with Uganda. We don't have these conversations to just ridicule or scorn at people.
but we try to foster conversations that will bring solutions to the various problems that we are having in this country, and in hope that the next generation will actually be better off than this generation that we are in. From the entire team, God bless you. Please do follow us at Digitalk TV, that is on Facebook, YouTube and X, but also at The Alternative Uganda. We are streaming on either platform. From the entire team, God bless you. Good evening, Uganda.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.